Hey guys, let's get more news from Dallas Cowboys, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. In a surprising move around the league, former Cowboys receiver Michael Gallup was placed on reserved/retired list by the Las Vegas Raiders. Gallup, who played for the Cowboys from 2018 to 2023, signed with the Raiders as an unrestricted free agent over the summer. He competed in the team's OTAs and minicamp and was expected to be at camp this week. But the 6-year veteran has apparently decided to retire as the Raiders officially placed him on the reserved/retired list. That means Las Vegas would retain his right should he decide to change his mind down the road. "I've got nothing but the utmost respect for Michael Gallup," said Cowboys Chief Operating Officer Stephen Jones. "He had some really great years here, then he had an unfortunate injury that put him on the shelf for a year. He didn't quite hit his stride the second year. We had to make a tough decision from a salary cap standpoint. He went out to the Raiders. I don't know the details behind his retirement. You won't meet a finer man than Michael Gallup. He always went out there to work to make everyone on the field better. I wish him nothing but the best." Ironically, Gallup's best game of the 2023 season occurred in the playoff loss to the Packers, where he caught all 6 of his targets for 103 yards. Over his career in Dallas, Gallup had 266 receptions for 3,744 yards and 21 touchdowns. His best season occurred in 2019, when he had career highs in catches, 66, yards, 1,107, and 6 touchdowns. With 3 consecutive 12-5 seasons, the Dallas Cowboys have been one of the better teams in the NFC over the last 3 years. They are expected to be tough again this year, but so are some other teams who have had recent success. Previously, we looked at the San Francisco 49ers, and today we'll continue to preview some of the Cowboys' toughest obstacles this year, moving on to one of the new teams on the rise. Detroit Lions. Head coach, Dan Campbell, 3 seasons 24-26.480. The Detroit Lions have been the doormat of the NFC North for many years. Can you believe it had been 30 years since they had won the division before taking down the crown last year? Here are the NFC division titles from 1994 to 2022. Green Bay Packers equals 15. Minnesota Vikings equals 8. Chicago Bears equals 5. Detroit Lions equals 0. But the Lions are roaring again in a big way. They advanced to the NFC Championship game a year ago and looked like they were on their way to the Super Bowl as they held a 24-7 halftime lead against the 49ers. Unfortunately, things unraveled in the second half and that was the end of their Cinderella story. But this was just the beginning. With Dan Campbell now calling the shots, the Lions have suddenly become one of the top teams in the NFC. 2023 statistics. Record, 12-5, first in the NFC North, 3rd seed in the NFC playoffs. Offense rank, points, 5th, yards, 3rd, passing efficiency, 3rd, and rushing efficiency, 5th. Defense rank, points, 23rd, yards, 19th, passing efficiency, 29th, and rushing efficiency, 3rd. 2023 leaders. Passing, Jared Goff equals 67.3% completion, 4,575 yards, 30 TDs, 12 INTs. Rushing, David Montgomery equals 1,015 yards, 4.6 YPC, 13 TDs. Receiving, Amon-Ra St. Brown equals 119 catches for 1,515 yards and 10 TDs. Sacks, Aiden Hutchinson equals 11.5. Tackles, Alex Anzalone equals 129. Interceptions, Kirby Joseph equals 4. Best offensive weapon. Amon-Ra St. Brown was the steal of the 2021 NFL Draft as he was the 17th wide receiver taken, 112th overall, in what was a deep WR draft class. However, no one from the draft has more receptions than St. Brown. He hit the ground running, making an immediate impact. He has gotten better each year. He's coming off his best season with over 1,500 receiving yards, joining Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb as last year's first-team All-Pro wideouts. Best defensive weapon. Aiden Hutchinson was the second overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft and has lived up to the hype. Over his first 2 years in the league, he has accrued 21 sacks, 103 tackles, and an impressive 4 interceptions. At just 23 years old, he's already becoming one of the league's best pass rushers and possesses an incredible knack for making plays. Notable losses. The Lions are trending up with more gains than losses, which should make them even more of a challenge this season. Their only casualty is losing Pro Bowl left guard Jonah Jackson, who signed a 3-year, $51 million deal with the Los Angeles Rams. Fortunately for them, they still have one of the best offensive lines in the league, as the Lions were able to replace him in free agency, which brings us to notable additions. Detroit replaced Jackson with veteran guard Kevin Zeitler, who signed a 1-year, $6 million deal this offseason. Zeitler joins an already strong offensive line that features All-Pro right tackle Penei Sewell and 3-time Pro Bowl center Frank Ragnow. The biggest improvements come in the secondary, as they've completely remodeled the cornerback position group, which is understandable considering they had the 4th worst net yards per passing attempt last season. They signed free agent Amik Robertson from the Raiders to a 2-year, $9.5 million deal and traded a 3rd-round pick for Carlton Davis from the Bucs. They also selected the top college corner in the draft, which we'll get to in a second. Finally, they added defensive tackle DJ Reader in free agency, who signed a 2-year, $27.3 million deal in free agency to help strengthen an already good run defense. This was a good move, considering everyone in their division signed a new free agent running back. Top draft pick. Cowboys fans might remember the Lions trading up to pick 24 in the draft so they could select Alabama corner Terrion Arnold. Detroit paid a hefty price to move up just 4 spots, giving Dallas a 3rd-round pick in exchange, Cooper Beebe. It was important for the Lions to address a huge need on defense, and they felt Arnold had fallen far enough. 3 of the Dallas Cowboys' most important players are eligible for new contracts, but one of the franchise's Hall of Famers isn't convinced Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, or Micah Parsons are approaching their negotiations the right way. Since losing to the Green Bay Packers, at home, in blowout fashion in the NFC Wild Card playoffs in January, the Cowboys have watched All-Pro tackle Tyron Smith and emerging center Tyler Biadasz depart via free agency. Meanwhile, negotiations seem to have stalled when it comes to new deals for Prescott, Parsons, and Lamb, who is holding out as training camp begins. "The biggest problem is who you're paying," Irvin said. "We're about to take 3 guys who I hear Dak's people talking noise in the media all the time, CeeDee's people talking on social media, and Micah Parsons' people talking in the media or Micah himself. We got our top 3 guys that we're about to give all the money in the world. And their families are always running their expletive mouth in the media. That is a hard place to be. So what it says to me is you're about to give money to 3 guys that are not even together." Irvin, of course, won 3 Super Bowls with the Cowboys, during the franchise's most recent run of championship success, culminating with hoisting the Lombardi Trophy after beating the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1996. If the Cowboys believe Prescott, Lamb, and Parsons can finally break through as a new core to make a legitimate Super Bowl run, beyond the divisional round of the playoffs, there's little doubt they will be paid accordingly. If the Cowboys believe Parsons is the centerpiece of the defense, and one of the premier players at a premium position, it wouldn't be surprising if Dallas eventually makes him one of the highest-paid pass rushers in the sport. Parsons believes a lot is riding on this upcoming season for him and his teammates. "If you kind of figure out how the money goes and how the contract goes," Parsons said, via ESPN's Todd Archer, "you kind of understand that business side. I think CeeDee takes up the value of 2 or 3 players. you're talking about $30 million plus per year. If you do that, how can you afford to pay CeeDee Lamb? Parsons said. That goes on for other guys potentially. The mindset I have is we have 7 All-Pros or however the count may be. It might be more, it might be less, we got at least 3 guys I know can be All-Pro. I think a lot of guys are going to have breakout years. I think that plays into it too. When you talk about all these guys, it just leads to saying, hey, when are the other guys going to step up and be better for the team? Parsons is coming off a career year, at one of the most vital positions on an NFL roster, capping the 2023 campaign with a career-high 14 sacks, while adding 64 total tackles.